Welcome back to the Frisco Report, guys. It is Tuesday, and you know what time it is. It is time for the Frisco Report to hit your earphones, whatever you got on the device on. I can't do it myself. I got a co-host with me, Cowboys blog, also known as Joe. Joe, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Let's get to this Frisco Report Tuesday. I can't wait to get into this discussion. We got a lot of great topics, guys.
The Dallas Cowboys broke news yesterday, and it ain't very positive news, Joe. Ezekiel Elliott, star running back, tested positive for COVID. Instant reaction to that.
The instant reaction is that, I think we're seeing more of what's going on in Texas. You're getting a lot of the surge. Living here in Texas, we see it on the news. The governor just spoke on it. They're talking about why the numbers are increasing. But for me, it's just everything's opened up. Some people are being a little bit more cautious than others, and we have no idea what the players are doing. Von Miller was one of the first ones that got COVID, and a lot of players, football, baseball, basketball. It's just hard to avoid. As much as you want to try to avoid it, if these guys are going out, practicing with other players, and if they don't show signs, they can still get it. So interesting. But like I said, like I tweeted, the good thing here, guys, he will have the antibodies, and then you won't have to worry about him getting sidelined for 2 to 3 games during the season. So we're good. We have our workhorse for the season, baby. Yeah,
and you brought up a good point about the antibodies, Joe, and I brought this up. I called into a show I was listening to yesterday, and I said, good thing about this is the antibodies that he's building up, getting immune to this stuff, studies have shown plasma donations work in healing other people. So, if he has the same blood type as the majority of the locker room, he could donate his plasma, and if someone gets it, they can get healed up faster with the plasma injection. So
yeah, good point on that one. Good point on the plasma.
Good things could come out of this. I'm just glad that he's healthy, and he's not showing any signs. He tweeted, he was pretty mad that it leaked to the media anyway.
Oh yeah.
But his agent confirmed with Ian Rappaport there. But is this okay? You talked about Von Miller getting it, but he kind of got it in the early stages, Joe. With Ezekiel Elliott getting it, and August 6th is the Cowboys-Steelers preseason game, Hall of Fame game. How evaluation of players still have to take place? You got the Hall of Fame game coming up in 6-7 weeks. How does this play out, Joe?
Yeah, that's the big topic of discussion today. That came out, an article came out today that there's a very strong feeling around the league that the Pro Football Hall of Fame game and possibly even the ceremony will be canceled. The governor of Ohio is kind of coming out saying that, if it happened right now, there wouldn't be a game. We'll see in August, but if there was a game right now, they wouldn't allow it. So that stadium holds about 20,000 fans. It's a smaller stadium. But would you have it at half capacity? Each state is different. So, but the thing is, Mike, how will it affect the evaluation process, right? That's really what we want to hone in here. And for me, it's not good. You got your new coach here. He wants to look at his draft picks and the players he's added. He's handpicked. So it's a short window. So I don't know. What's your feeling on that, Mike?
It's a very short window, and room for error is very slim. I want to go to a tweet because the NFLPA and the NFL actually had a meeting yesterday, and Tom Paracelio, I might have butchered his name wrong, said that the NFLPA medical director Tom Mayer said the current plan is to test players for COVID about 3 times a week, and they could be doing like a saliva testing, and that will allow players, to get in there. And if they happen to test positive, they have to sit out the next 30 days or so, depending when they get, a negative test result back. That's huge, though. Not getting that thing shit up your nose, and the NFL getting this test where it's done by saliva, that's really going to help speed up the process. But when you get down to the evaluations part of it, if you can't have anybody in the building, there's no evaluation to take place.
Yeah, and they're talking about, they're talking about taking everything into account. They're talking about how are these rookies paying attention in the meetings. They're having a lot of these WebEx, Zoom meetings. Are they paying attention? Are they showing up on time? Like these little bitty things that may not have, well, this has never happened, right? So this is a new territory. So it gives a good coach a gauge as far as, is this player going to put, the work in? Are they showing up on time to these meetings? Are they paying attention? Are they taking notes? Then you have that classroom part of it that the coaches are taking notes. There's a lot of eyes on these meetings. So a coach could be speaking and the players are, but then you have somebody who's watching all the screens on their computer. Like, is this guy paying attention? Is he texting on his phone? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you got that part of the evaluation now. And then obviously training camp, but it's all a short window. So all these things are going to come into account. But the shortened preseason is really what gets me, because that's where you want to see the competition against another team, and if we're talking about cutting it down to 2 games, you really have to lean on the other parts of the evaluation.
You have to, and you have to depend on your starters. We've been yelling for Tyron Crawford to get cut, but you need that veteran experience at limited reps, limited practice, limited hands-on, because he's a veteran. He gets the NFL, and early in his career he played in a 3-4 defense. But the best thing, Joe, here is every NFL team has to deal with this right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So the competition it's level, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the thing that people need to keep in mind. It's not just the Cowboys. Every other team has to navigate through this minefield of how they're going to evaluate, and if we're talking about, player evaluations and that kind of thing, you got to feel, pretty good about what the Cowboys have done here recently with Will McClay and the pro personnel and the draft picks. So, but for some of these other teams that don't draft well, don't do good in free agency, it's really going to jack them up. It's going to hurt them bad. But for the Cowboys, I think we'll be okay. But you got there's that thin line of, do you want to play these players? Are you going to rest them even through the 2 games? Do you rest them, and are they going to be real rusty during the opening of the season? We always see it. The opening game of the NFL, a lot of penalties, a lot of sloppy football. It's almost like a de facto, 4th preseason game, or 5th in some cases, right? So,
right.
Will the first 2 games of the regular season be sloppy? Will we see stamina issues? Will we see conditioning issues, cramping, that kind of thing? It's starting here like in September. It's still pretty warm in Texas. We might see those types of issues. So something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely, Joe. And it's going to be crazy how it pans out. And I think the more players that get tested, positive for this stuff, because it's bound to happen. And I was just waiting for it to happen. Von Miller couldn't be the only NFL player that tested positive. Sean Payton can't be the only coach that's going to test positive.
Yeah.
And, they lived through it. They feel good. You got a couple antibodies there that could help the NFL or help somebody out, that might be fighting for their life with this stuff. So, I mean, there's different things that you can do. But switching gears here, Madden 21, Joe, release date August 28th. I seen the tweet EA put out. Before I give my reaction, I'm a big Madden player. What was your reaction when you seen, the tweet come out with Madden 21?
I was pumped for it. But then when you study it a little bit more, a lot of people are complaining and that kind of thing. I guess they wanted a completely revamped kind of thing. A lot of fans were saying this just looks like a Madden 20 clone with a few little changes here and there. But, you get your official rookies on the team. You're not. It's not like you're editing. Your Madden 20 rosters or downloading rosters to match it up. Now you're getting the official ones, or you know what I mean. So, but it was cool to see CeeDee Lamb on there with the player celebrations and that kind of thing. And it's just a few seconds of it, but I'll get you pumped up. So Lamar Jackson is going to be the front cover of Madden. So it looks like Mahomes broke the curse there. What do you think about Lamar being the cover guy?
You know, he deserves. He's deserving. You know, he's MVP. But my reaction to the video, being a hardcore Madden player, it was underwhelming. You know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they need to fix a lot of issues with it. Franchise mode is in a very good mode, you know, to play on. You know, they got to fix that. They got to fix a lot of glitches in it, and I hope they do. You know, I might be complaining, but I'm still going to buy the game. I'm still going to pre-order it, wait for that sucker to download on probably what you get 3 days later if you pre-order. So, you know, Lamar Jackson, going back to that, he's the MVP. You know, he did some amazing things. You talked about Patrick Mahomes breaking that Madden curse. He did get hurt, but he didn't get hurt for the season, you know.
Yeah,
but
true.
But you know, I just hope Lamar, you know, builds on success. You know, he's deserving. He's a baller.
And that's coming out August 28th, the regular release.
August
but if
28th.
The MVP edition, like Mike said 3 days earlier, August 25th, if you want to dole out the extra cash there. So something to look forward to. You know, I'm pretty sure we'll see like the ratings starting to come out. You know, football players always tweet EA when the ratings come out. Like, what are you kidding me with the speed and, you know, the catchability, that kind of thing. So we'll see who it'll be this year, which players are going to call out EA on the ratings. But, you know, it's one of those things where it marks, you know, it's like an earmark. When Madden when Madden comes out, you're getting closer to regular season football, baby. It's coming. You know, things are starting to fall into place. Training camp, Madden, preseason. I mean, we're right around the corner here. You know, I'm pumped for it.
Very pumped. You talk about players, you know, getting mad about their ratings. Tyron Crawford tweeted EA and was like, "Dude, I'm not this fat." You know, they had him like 300 pounds or something. They slimmed down his body and put his body where he needed to be. But I thought that's my funniest NFL player complaint to date, and that was like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember that one.
But are you ready to get into some fan questions?
Let's get into the Q&A. We asked you guys to drop some questions there in the community. We do appreciate it. We'll try to get through these. But yeah, go ahead and kick it off, Mike. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, absolutely. All these are from Cowboys Blogs channel. Again, thank you guys for submitting questions, and you know, hopefully we can get to everybody and get yours answered. But started off real quick on this one. Space Cowboys 17. What are your expectations for the defense this year? Any holes on the defense that still needs worked on?
I don't feel like there's holes, but I feel like there's questions. You know, I feel like we have players in place and things that look good on paper, but you know, the questions are there. You know, like how's Aldon Smith gonna look? You know, coming off the edge, opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence. On paper, this looks like something that's really gonna be awesome for the defense. The middle of the defense is revamped pretty much. You know, Neville Gallimore and these guys. And what about Tristan Hill? Your cornerbacks, you know, who will be opposite Cheeto? I know, you know, earlier in the offseason, there was articles like people didn't have anything better to do writing about Cheeto going to safety. I don't see it. I think Cheeto's your other corner, and then you put the other guy opposite. And for me, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Trayvon Diggs. But still, you know, those are the questions I have for the defense. Nothing is really set in stone where you got these are your definitive starters. Plus, it's a new regime, Mike. So, you know, there's going to be the competition. There might be a surprise there. Somebody might show up and bump somebody off this roster. A vet possibly might get demoted or might not even make the team. So I'm all for it. I'm ready.
Yeah, great question, Space Cowboys 17. My answer to your question, it was the same as Joe's. There's really not a hole. There's more question marks. You know, you talk about Aldon Smith. What is he going to look like? You know, Joe brought up the corners. You know, Trayvon Diggs, Cheeto Bay-Awuzie on the outside. You know, is Damian Wilson going to beat out HaHa Clinton Diggs? You know, because Damian Wilson can play special team. There's so many question marks rather than holes on this football team. How are the linebackers going to play out when you go to a 3-4 defense? I think they took care of themselves well at the linebacker position during the offseason. But that's my answer. But thank you, Space Cowboy 17, for the question. We're going to go to Cowboy Mike Joe right here. He said, "What's up, Joe?" And Mike, I'm going to add that in there, paraphrasing. My question is, what would you prefer? Wait for training camp and check out the safeties, maybe who's getting cut or something like that, or trade for Jamal Adams before training camp?
I think what they're going to do is they're going to see what they have on their roster. First, the Jamal Adams trade, I just don't see it happening. It's just another Earl Thomas situation where fans really want it. Maybe the Cowboys kind of, flirted with it briefly, lightly, but even the Cowboys have said that there's nothing to it. Stephen Jones and these guys have said there's nothing to it. So for this one, I don't think it's happening. For the Cowboys, they want to see what they have. McCarthy brought in players. He brought in Clinton Dix. We want to see what Donovan Wilson does there for us. I think he's a dark horse candidate, and we're talking about Xavier Woods. He's really got to show up this season. He's got to do something if he wants a second contract with the Cowboys or somewhere else. He's got to take that leap there in contract year. But I feel good about it. I feel good about the defense overall. But for safety, if we're talking about somebody, and this is a name I'm going to bring up here, Budda Baker from the Cardinals. Strong safety, tackling machine all over the place. Can play the ball well, can read the defense, plays the run well. He's not afraid to get in the scrum, gets interceptions. He's a good player to keep an eye on. Young, he's in a contract year. Do the Cardinals want to extend him? Do the Cowboys possibly think about a bye-week trade for somebody like him? That's what fans need to think more about. Players that are in their final season that you could trade for and then re-sign them or something. Kind of like what they did with Amari Cooper, get that player in here and then make a deal with them. So I'm not looking at these high-end guys like a Jamal. I think more outside the box, Budda Baker, these types of guys. And if you don't make a trade for Budda, and if they don't franchise tag him, that's somebody Cowboys may actually legitly take a look at in free agency 2021.
Great point. And Ramon Baliho, he pretty much has the same question as Cowboy Mike, but he's pretty much asking, are we setting ourselves up for another Earl Thomas dud? And yes, you brought it up straight up, Joe. You said no, there's no way. The price is too rich. Cowboys tried it, they gave up on it. Cowboys tried Earl Thomas in the draft. Seahawks said no, they gave up on it. Once the Cowboys try it once, they're not going to keep dipping in their hand in the hot water and getting burnt, because it gives up too much hope for us fans, right? So we just got to leave that stuff alone. See what's in stake, for Damian Wilson, Clinton Dix. You're hoping for a great year from Xavier Woods at the free safety position, because it's his last year. You want that back end of the defense to do great. But let's go ahead and go on to Valerie Esch. She said, "Hey, Joe, my question is, do you think the league needs to lower the value, money-wise, for the quarterback position? With that, do you think that's what they're going to do in Dak's case? Pretty much resetting the market is what she's asking."
Resetting the market is always going to go up. I don't see them going backwards. The players don't want that. And, players definitely don't want that. And I don't see it happening. It's the market's just going to keep going up. And I think that's where a lot of fans have issues with, the market going up and the prices going up. Like, Deshaun Watson, is he going to get signed before Prescott? If so, the Prescott number is going to go up crazy. So the Cowboys are playing a little bit of a dangerous game here, unless they have a plan behind the scenes that we're not aware of. Where maybe McCarthy came in here and said, we're gonna go with this deal here. We're gonna do the franchise tag, but I want to build my team. So let's go with this with Dak. If he wants to sign, he won't. And then, I'll groom somebody who will draft somebody. So that's a possibility. These high-end, top-secret kind of meetings, they happen, and but at the end of the day, I feel that they will sign him. The Cowboys have done this with every recent contract. They wait to the 25th hour, and then they sign the player. So we'll see. But if they don't, I think it really adds a lot of intrigue to the season. That will be interesting if they don't get it done.
Yeah, great question here about Valerie Ash. And, and people look at Drew Brees' contract, Tom Brady's numbers. They're like, yo, this isn't the $36 million that we're used to seeing. Are they resetting the market? Absolutely not. As they're older quarterbacks, you got to look at that kind of stuff. And I don't think they're trying to reset the market. There's no way you can reset the market by lowering the market. Yeah. There's a standard already set. And depending on, next year's salary cap could hurt. Depending on if they're going to lose $3 billion in revenue or not, that could hurt the salary cap going in to 2021. But if it don't and all this stuff magically disappears, salary cap's going up. That means paychecks are going up. It's inflation, right? Thank you so much for the question, Valerie Ash. Monte says, what do you think the impact will be on this team? What do you think the impact will be on this team will be with a new head coach and not being able to be on the field till training camp? What does this put us back yet another year, or are we staying in contention?
That's a good question, but it kind of goes back to what we talked about with the players and things. It's 32 teams are going to have to go through this, but the thing I do like about McCarthy, he spent that year off refining what he wants to do, refining what he's good at, and adding to that mix. So you're getting a better coach out of McCarthy here. Recharged, rejuvenated, ready to get this thing going. For young new coaches, I think that are coming into this, like a Joe Judge for the Giants, the talent's there, but that might hurt them. There's those coaches that will be affected by this, but I feel the experience of McCarthy, being in this league for as long as he's been in the league and success, he knows how to deal with adversity. Unlike Garrett always talked about, facing adversity, facing the challenge of doing this and that, but then they never did. They crumbled under the adversity. For me, McCarthy has had adversity in the past. Whether it was an injury to Rodgers or one of their star receivers going down, they always had somebody to fill it in, and really good use of the roster. So, I feel like I don't think we'll be set back another year. Not at all.
No, I don't think so either, Joe. And the impact that will be on this team with the new head coach is. This is a great impact. You got a seasoned veteran coach who's won a Super Bowl in North Texas, by the way. He knows how to, number one, game plan. He knows how to strategize. He knows how to work with grown men, go hand-to-hand with grown men. And it ain't the robotic bust that we've seen from Jason Garrett time in, time out. Now, maybe he portrayed himself that way in front of the media. Maybe behind closed doors he was different. I know All or Nothing tried to portray him like he was this butt-chewing coach, but we all know he wasn't. Mm-hmm. Just because he threw his challenge flag down at the referee and mumbled some words doesn't make him the world's greatest coach and knows how to talk to players. Yeah. And that's what you get with Mike McCarthy. This guy talks to players. He knows how to do it. So I think there's a huge impact there, Monty. And, not getting on the field to training camp, Joe made great points there. And sometimes things happen. Life happens. You got to figure out, how to slice concrete with the butter knife. That's kind of what we're in. How can I slice this concrete with butter knives? And, they're going to figure it out and they're going to get it done. I don't think it puts us back another year. We got veteran coaches all across the board, assistants and what not have yous. We got veteran players here that can step it up and really lead this football team and help on the field job training if they need it. But again, every NFL team has the same problem.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And
then BK Folson says, could Could Cam Newton replace Dak Prescott in the short term if things get bad?
No, I don't.
Maybe if he like holds out or
Nah,
something like that.
no, I don't see that. I mean, that's part of the reason why they got Andy Dalton. You know, and is Cam Newton better than Andy Dalton? You know, I would probably say yes. You know, but for what McCarthy wants in the quarterback and studying the player and that kind of thing, I gotta default to McCarthy here. You know, but I don't see them making that move there. I think they're going to roll with what they have. You know, it'll be Dak. If he holds out, it'll be Dalton, you know?
Hey, I mean, that's as simple as the way that I can put it. You know, I mean, there's a lot of drama. You know, Cowboys, they try to get away from those drama diva players. And, you know, when that stuff starts happening, yes, Dez was animated. I'm not calling Dez drama, but, you know, that type of personality, it didn't last long in Dallas. And, you know, he had a 5-year deal. He only played 4. He didn't even finish that long-term deal. Yes, that kind of happens with NFL teams, but Dez Bryant in his prime was unstoppable, and just look how fast it fell off.
Yeah.
So, you know, Cam Newton, yes, he was good in his prime, but look how fast it fell off. You know, if he was that good, Ron Rivera would have picked him up, and he would have been playing with the Washington Redskins right now. You know, sometimes players just, they're really, really good, and then they just fall off. And but Andy Dalton is the backup. He's a cheap backup. He's going to be the guy like Joe said. But we got a last question here from Ruben Gomez. He said, with players coming down with COVID, what is the percentage of a full season, or what's the chances of a percentage of a full season or reduced season? Should players come out and stay contacted with the COVID, or keep it hush?
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be able to keep it hush. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some kind of, you know, an overseer, I guess you could say, like a checks and balances. But, you know, you never know, man. When there's money involved in this kind of thing, you never really know, you know. But what's the percentage? I think DeMar Smith said there was a 60% chance that the season would even happen, you know, based on where we're at right now. I think there will be a season. Now, will we finish the season? You know, I think that's it's going to be up to what society does. You know, do they want to just act as if it's not out there? Do the players want to be careless and just be out and about and, you know, not protect themselves or their teammates? It's all new territory. You know, it's all new territory. It's kind of hard to kind of project that kind of thing here. You know, will there be a major fall surge when the temperatures cool down and the flu season comes into play along with COVID? And there's just a lot of variables. It's kind of hard to predict, to be honest. But, you know, what I don't want to see happen, Mike, is what happened to the NBA. You know, they're rolling along, got all the way here, almost getting to the playoffs, and then, you know, everything hit the fan, and they've been delayed for months now, you know, and they're barely gonna, and they're still in talks to do the playoffs. I think is that in place yet for NBA? I'm not even sure, but you know,
they said they're gonna do it at Disney. I think in California or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, hard to answer that question as a full percentage with any confidence. You know, what do you feel, Mike?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know that. You know, when I tell you a story real quick, you know, went fishing and I said, "Hey, Dad, we gonna catch anything?" He said, "Son, you gotta play it by ear." I'm like 5 years, I don't even know what that means, but now I know what it means. You gotta play this by ear. You know, how does, you know, this season, how does this COVID react? Does it transfer to more NFL players? Does it slow down? Does the heat kill it? Which, you know, it's been 105 where I'm from, and we still got COVID cases.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so. There's and Joe, you brought up a fantastic point. Flu season, could this COVID spike back up? You know, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be real crazy to see. You know, but you know there could be a chance that it does happen. They do those tests 3 times a day, and you know they keep everybody secluded, family included, and you know there's no contact for football players for 4 months, and they take a $3 billion hit. You know, that could be it. But players, to keep it hush. You know how hard it is in this day and age to keep it hush. You know, Ian Rappaport called Zeke's agent and said, "Oh yeah, I can verify that. Yeah, he got it." You can't keep this stuff hush. There's too much social media. There's too much press. There's no way that you can keep this stuff quiet in this day and age.
Yeah, that's true, man. Like, you know, there's the HIPAA law and all that kind of thing, but it's true, man. It just takes one leak somewhere. You know, it could have been somebody that administered the test. You know, it might have been. I don't know where they did the test. I'm assuming they tried to do it in privacy, but you just don't know. You know, it could have been the person that administered the test. Like, oh, this is Ezekiel Elliott. You know, and then they go off and say, hey, I tested Ezekiel Elliott for COVID, and then you know what I mean? Like, it could be something as simple as that. You know, but
great point, Joe. Because remember when he was in Cabo, and people sitting next to him on the plane was freaking out. Oh, and those pictures just went viral. Exactly. Like, you can't hide when you're in a celebrity type spotlight. There's nothing you can hide.
Yeah, and Ezekiel has that look, that very distinct look where you know that's Ezekiel Elliott. It's not where you're looking at him like, is that Ezekiel Elliott? No, like, he's got the hair, he's got that look, he's got that build. You know, just some piercings. The piercings. Some players just have that look where you know who that person is. You know.
Yeah. You know what's funny? When we went to the NFL draft in 2018, we went to the mall in Arlington, I believe it was, and I'm walking through this mall, and I go to Dick's Sporting Goods to get my draft shirt. You know, some of my draft gear because I like some of their selections they had, and I was so focused, Joe, on getting this shirt. There's like a bunch of police officers. I'm like, ooh, someone must have got caught stealing something. And in the middle of these police officers was Sean Lee. And he was a foot away from me. You know, it's just hard. I mean, they had him safeguarded, but it was so funny because I'm just eyeballing the shirt. Uh-huh. And my wife's like, Michael, it's Sean Lee. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I look to my left, and Sean Lee's looking at me like, dude, I'm surrounded by cops. What are you doing this close? Yeah. You know, but the cops looked at me funny too, but I didn't move or anything. And I was like, hey, Sean, you know, at the last minute, I got my shirt and I got out of there. But
that's funny, dude.
Yeah. So
trip, man.
You can tell some players, and there's some players you just can't.
Yeah, some of them blend in like, yeah, man, it just happens. Crazy.
But this might be a short one for you guys, but we really appreciate your questions here on the Frisco Report, guys. You know, as this season goes on, maybe there'll be more news next time, but we'll definitely include you guys. You are way more part of this show than me and Joe are, because without you guys, this show wouldn't even be possible. Joe, where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube. Just look me up, Cowboys Blog. You can hit me up on Twitter, Cowboys Blog Net. And on Instagram, Cowboys Blog. So hit me up, give me a follow, and I'll try to follow you back, and we'll keep the discussion going offline.
Got to keep that discussion going. Don't forget to follow the Frisco Report at the Frisco Report on Twitter, guys. Make sure you check out the FriscoReport.com. Again, that's the FriscoReport.com. The links to my YouTube channel and Joe's YouTube channel is on there. Great merch for Father's Day. So check that out, guys. You know, get your fathers something proper to wear. And it has to be the Frisco Report with something proper on there. But I'm Dallas Cowboy Football News on YouTube and on Facebook. DCF News 1 on Twitter, guys. So, you know, like Joe says, give me a follow, give me a mention, give me a DM, because that's the only way the conversation will start. I know you're out there. Start it. Peace.
Peace.